Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that the key to unlocking your fullest potential isn't about working harder, but about thinking differently? Imagine for a moment what your life could look like if you could tap into the mindset of the wealthiest, most successful people. What if you could train your mind to think like a millionaire, not just about money, but about your time, your decisions, and the way you approach every single challenge that comes your way? It's not some secret formula reserved for the few. It's a mindset anyone can develop. Today, I'm going to show you how to shift your thinking, elevate your habits, and transform the way you approach success. This isn't about luck or chance. It's about mastering your mind so you can master your life. Stay tuned, because the mindset that builds wealth, influence, and lasting success is within your reach. Let me ask you a simple question. If someone handed you $1 million today, could you actually hold on to it? Here's the truth. Wealth doesn't happen by chance, and staying wealthy requires the right mindset. Many people dream of living like a millionaire, but they never prepare for it. They want the money, but not the discipline. They crave the rewards, but shy away from the responsibilities. Understand this. Money follows mindset. That's the key. You must become the kind of person success is drawn to. So today we're going to focus on your most valuable asset, not your job, not your car, not even your bank account, but your mindset. Over the next few minutes, I'll share the exact mental shifts that millionaires apply daily, quietly, consistently, and relentlessly. This isn't theory or fluff. These are real principles that transform lives. Consider this your wake-up call. If you want to live like the top 1%, you first need to think like the top 1%. That starts right now. Let's get to work. It's time to upgrade your mental software. Let's talk about the operating system running your life, your mind. Here's something I learned years ago. You can't produce millionaire-level results with minimum wage thinking. Picture your brain like a computer. It runs on software. Some of that software you chose, but most of it was installed without your input. How you view money, how you see yourself, how you handle stress, setbacks, and success. That's all mental programming. So here's the big question. Who wrote that code? Your parents? Your school? The media? Maybe even the people you spend time with. If you don't program your own mind, someone else will. And they likely won't aim very high. What separates average performers from exceptional ones isn't talent or luck. It's mental design. Millionaires think differently from most people. They ask sharper questions, follow stronger routines, and build more empowering beliefs. Small-minded thinking focuses on problems. Wealthy thinking focuses on principles. Let me give an example. A poor mindset says, why does this always happen to me? A wealthy mindset asks, what can I learn from this and how can I use it? One creates self-pity, the other creates power. And here's the truth. You get to choose. So how do you start this mental upgrade? Let me give you 3 simple daily disciplines. Start practicing these every day, and over time, your mindset will transform. Discipline 1, feed your mind better fuel. Read high-quality books. Not gossip, not clickbait. I'm talking about real wisdom. Even 10 pages a day can completely shift your mindset within a year. You could skip a meal, but don't skip your reading. Why? Because your philosophy shapes your future. Discipline 2, audit your inputs. You can't expect to feel powerful if you're constantly feeding on fear. You can't expect to think wealthy if you surround yourself with broke thinking. Be intentional about what you allow into your mind. Ask yourself, does this educate me, elevate me, or merely entertain me? If it's not building you, it's breaking you. 3, replace automatic thoughts with intentional ones. Most people wake up and repeat the same thoughts they had yesterday and then wonder why nothing changes. Start each morning by asking yourself, who do I need to become today to align with the future I want? The most powerful thoughts are purposeful, crafted deliberately, and spoken aloud with conviction. Write down your new beliefs. Say them daily, not because it's some magic formula, but because they act as mental programming, and repetition is how you install them. Let me leave you with a truth I'll never forget. If you want your income to grow, if you want your influence to expand, if you want your life to elevate, it all begins with your thinking. Your mind is either your sharpest tool or your biggest trap, your greatest weapon or your deepest weakness. And only you get to choose. So don't just wish for better. Install better. and watch what follows. Catch up to the person you're meant to become. Let's keep going. Develop the millionaire attitude. If you want to transform your life, you must begin by transforming your attitude. Because attitude isn't just how you feel, it's how you face the world. It's your stance, your philosophy put into action. You can have all the skills, all the credentials, but if your attitude is off, everything else falls apart. Here's the key. You don't get paid just for showing up. You get paid for showing up with the right mindset. One that says, I'm responsible, I'm prepared, I'm here to contribute. Millionaires understand this. They don't just think differently, they carry themselves differently. They walk into rooms with intention, approach challenges with curiosity, and handle setbacks with calm. So, how do you develop that kind of attitude? Let me give you the 3 foundational traits of the millionaire mindset. Simple to understand, powerful if practiced consistently. First, confidence without arrogance. Millionaires trust themselves, not because they think they're flawless, but because they prepared, they've put in the effort, and they've trained their minds to seek solutions, not just spot problems. They don't boast, they don't fake it, but they stand tall because they've earned that right. Second, humility without weakness. A wealthy mindset remains open and teachable. It listens, it learns, stays curious, because no matter how much success you achieve, there's always another level. The arrogant believe they know it all. The wise understand there's always more to master. Third, resilience without complaint. You can't have a millionaire attitude and be a chronic complainer. You won't win in the long run if you're hooked on blaming, whining. The millionaires get knocked down like anyone else, but they don't stay down. They rise, refocus, and rebuild. Why? Because they've trained themselves to respond thoughtfully, not react impulsively. They manage their attitude so they can manage their outcomes. Here's a question you should ask yourself every day. What is my attitude costing me or creating for me? If your attitude is negative, it's pushing opportunities away. If it's positive, it's opening doors before you even speak. And here's the reality. No one else can change it for you. Your attitude is your responsibility, your power, and it's either building your future or blocking it. Make the choice today. Carry yourself as the person you're becoming. Speak like a leader. Think like an owner. Show up as someone who expects success, not because of luck, but because of discipline. The right attitude doesn't guarantee success, but the wrong attitude will always guarantee failure. Train your mind to walk with confidence, speak with wisdom, and act with resilience. That's how you develop the millionaire attitude. Let's keep moving. Think long-term, act today. If there's one mindset that separates the wealthy from the average, it's this. Millionaires think in decades. Most people think in days. The average person wants to feel good right now. The millionaire focuses on building something that will still deliver value years down the road. Let me share something important. You can either choose what feels good right now or choose what will feel good for the rest of your life, but rarely can you have both at the same time. Success is never built on impulse, it's built on intention. And intention demands vision. The kind of vision that looks ahead 5, 10, even 20 years and says, what I do today matters for that future. Most people don't live this way. They chase weekends, count down to vacations, and believe success is something they'll reach someday. Yet they act as if that day will never arrive. That's why things stay the same. Millionaires wake up with a mission. They make decisions today that their future self will be grateful for. They don't rely on motivation, they rely on direction because they've already visualized where they're going. So how do you start thinking long-term and taking action today? Begin here. Create a 5-year vision. Where do you want to be? Financially, physically, mentally, in your relationships? Get specific. Write it down. Visualize it clearly in your mind. Then ask yourself this powerful question. What do I need to start doing today to move toward that goal? Here's the key. Vision without action is just imagination. You have to link your goals to your daily habits. The future you dream of is built by the choices you make now. Want to be healthier in 5 years? Eat better today. You want to be wealthier in 5 years? Start investing today. Want to be wiser in 5 years? Start reading today. The long term is shaped by the short term. The future is built in the present. Here's a quick test. Look at your calendar, your to-do list. Is it filled with distractions or with deposits into your future? Are you building a meaningful life or just trying to escape the one you're in? Every day, You are either planting seeds. The person who plays the short game may win for now, but the one who plays the long game builds a legacy. Millionaires don't ask, what can I get right now? They ask, what can I build today so I never have to beg later? Remember, the future doesn't belong to the lucky. It belongs to the prepared. So shift from fast to focused, from busy to intentional, from wishing to working. Think long-term. Act today. Give your future something to be proud of. Let's keep going. Choose growth over comfort. Here's a truth you need to hear. Success and comfort don't live on the same street. You'll have to choose one. Most people choose comfort. They don't say it out loud, but they live it. They avoid pain. They avoid challenge. They stay where it's easy, where it's safe, where it's familiar. But here's the problem. Comfort never leads to greatness. Comfort is a trap disguised as a reward. You weren't meant to stay the same. You were made to grow, to stretch, to push limits, and build strength. Millionaires know this. They seek growth, not ease. They deliberately put themselves in uncomfortable situations that build new skills, new thinking, and new results. They do the hard things. The workouts when they're tired, the tough conversations that take courage, the discipline to say no when others say yes. Why? Because they understand this. Growth isn't convenient. Growth is earned. And every time you choose it over comfort, you invest in a stronger, better version of yourself. So let me ask you, when was the last time you deliberately did something difficult? Not because you had to, but because you chose to. That's where transformation starts. When you stop avoiding discomfort and start leaning into it. That's where your edge is. That's where your next level lives. It's easy to stay the same, but nothing changes if you do. If you want more, you have to become more. That demands growth, real growth, stretching past excuses, showing up when it's hard, putting in the reps both mentally and physically. Here's a simple principle. Growth feels uncomfortable in the moment, but it feels incredible when you look back in the mirror. Comfort feels good now, but it steals from your future because you can't chase success and cling to comfort at the same time. One has to go. So here's your challenge. Start doing one uncomfortable thing every single day. Have that tough conversation. Take that risk. Wake up an hour earlier. Practice that skill until it's sharp. Read the book that stretches your thinking. And remind yourself, you don't grow by doing what's easy. You grow by doing what's necessary. Comfort is a cage. Growth is a door. Choose the one that moves you forward. Let's move on. Master your self-talk and inner dialogue. If there's one voice you'll hear more than anyone else's in your entire life, it's your own. And that constant conversation running in your head is either building your future or quietly tearing it down. Most people never learn to manage their self-talk. They speak to themselves with doubt, fear, criticism, and limitation. And then they wonder why their confidence fades, why their results stay small, why they feel stuck. Here's something to think about. You can't plant negative thoughts and expect a positive life. You can't speak in terms of limitation and expect to live with abundance. Your inner voice is either your personal coach or your silent enemy. Millionaires know this. They're not just careful with their money. They're careful with their mind. They monitor the conversations happening between their own ears, and they take control of them because they know this truth. The way you talk to yourself is the way you build yourself. So how do you master your self-talk? Start with awareness. Catch yourself in the act. When you say, I can't do this, I'm not ready, I always mess things up. Stop, pause, ask yourself, would I talk to a friend like this? And if not, then why would you talk to yourself that way? Here's what I want you to do. Replace the inner critic with an inner coach. Change I can't to I'm learning. Change I'm not good enough to I'm getting stronger every day. Change this is too hard to this is how I grow. Words matter, especially the ones you repeat, especially the ones you believe. Speak life into your own mind and life will start flowing into your results. Here's a tool. Every morning, declare 3 truths about yourself, not based on where you are, but on where you're going. Say them out loud, write them down, repeat them with certainty. Something like, I take responsibility for my life. I am becoming more focused and disciplined every day. I am building a mindset worthy of success. This isn't about pretending. It's about programming. You're not faking confidence. You're forming it. And here's the final key. Speak what you want to become, not just what you feel. Because feelings come and go, but vision will carry you through the valleys. So speak as the person you are becoming. Talk like someone who expects growth. Encourage yourself like someone who refuses to quit. The way you talk to yourself will either train you or trap you. Make it your greatest strength and watch how everything else starts to follow. Let's continue. Build your wealth vocabulary. Let me ask you, how do you speak when no one's listening? Because your words aren't just sounds, they're signals. And those signals shape your beliefs, your actions, and ultimately your future. Wealth doesn't just sit in the bank. It begins in your language. Your vocabulary either opens the door to abundance or locks you into limitation. Most people speak like they're broke, not just financially, but mentally. They use words of fear, words of doubt, words of excuse. They say things like, I can't afford that. That's too risky. Or money isn't everything. Or worse, I'll never be rich. Let me give you a principle. Every time you speak, you're programming your mind. And you can't speak like a victim and expect to live like a victor. Millionaires are intentional with their words. They've trained themselves to speak in a way that aligns with their goals. Not just when talking to others, but especially in the private conversations they have with themselves. Instead of saying, I can't afford that, they ask, how can I afford that? Instead of saying, I'm stuck, they ask, what's the next move? Instead of thinking, that's impossible, they challenge themselves with, what would make it possible? Do you hear the shift? One kind of vocabulary closes doors, the other opens them. Your words reflect your mindset, and your mindset shapes your outcomes. So how do you build a wealth vocabulary? First, you have to eliminate scarcity language. Get rid of phrases like, I'm not lucky, I always mess things up, or it's too late for me. These aren't just harmless statements. They're self-fulfilling prophecies. Replace them with language rooted in growth and ownership. I'm improving every day. I haven't mastered it yet, but I'm committed. I create opportunities through discipline and focus. Second, expand your financial vocabulary. Learn the language of money. Read about wealth. Understand terms like assets, equity, leverage, cash flow investment. Because what you understand, you can grow, and what you avoid, you remain a stranger to. Most people fear wealth simply because they don't understand it, and they don't understand it because they never talk about it constructively. Make it normal to talk about financial growth. Make it normal to say things like, I'm planning for abundance. I'm learning to invest wisely. I'm managing my money like a steward, not just a spender. Third, protect your speech environment. The people you speak with daily will either raise your vocabulary or lower it. If your circle complains more than they commit, you're absorbing their language. If they mock ambition, you'll start shrinking yours. Surround yourself with conversations that stretch you. Listen to people who speak from discipline, not defeat, because words are contagious, and you need to be intentional about the ones you catch. Let me leave you with this. You are always speaking yourself into a future. Make sure the words you use are worthy of where you want to go. Talk like someone who expects wealth. Speak like someone who's preparing for success. Build a vocabulary that lifts, not limits, because the tongue is the steering wheel of the mind. Use it wisely, and it will carry you farther than you ever imagined. Now, let's move forward. If I can give you only one piece of advice about success, it would be this. Be careful who you spend your time with. Your circle, your environment, your associations, they are shaping you whether you realize it or not. You don't become wealthy by accident, and you don't stay stuck by accident either. Both outcomes are influenced by the people you allow into your life. Most people underestimate this. They say, it doesn't matter. I make my own decisions. But here's the truth. If the 5 people around you are always negative, always complaining, always blaming, guess what you'll start doing? You'll start speaking like them, thinking like them, and living like them. And you may not even notice until it's too late. Here's the rule. You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you want to level up, you need to look around and ask, who's building me and who's breaking me? Millionaires are intentional about their circle. They guard it like a treasure, not because they're arrogant, but because they're focused. They spend time with people who talk about ideas, not just gossip, with people who challenge them, not just comfort them, with people who inspire them, because growth requires accountability and accountability requires quality relationships. First, audit your current circle. Ask yourself honestly, after I leave a conversation with this person, do I feel better, more focused, more disciplined, or do I feel drained, discouraged, and distracted? If someone is constantly pulling you down, they don't belong in your inner circle. You can love people without letting them lead your life. Second, seek proximity to greatness. You don't always need to know successful people personally. You can read their books, listen to their podcasts, and study their habits. Let their mindset become your mentorship. In the beginning, your mentors might only exist in pages and recordings, but over time, as you grow, so will your access. Third, build your own circle intentionally. Invite people into your life who are going where you're going. People who will call you higher, people who don't settle for average and won't let you settle either. Your future depends on who you allow close to you. That's not selfish, that's wisdom. You wouldn't let just anyone manage your money, so don't let just anyone manage your mindset. Be kind to everyone, but walk closely only with the few who reflect your values, your vision, and your goals. Remember, iron sharpens iron, but rust also spreads. Surround yourself with builders, not just believers. People who stretch your thinking, strengthen your habits, and celebrate your growth. People who stretch your thinking, strengthen your habits, and celebrate. Your circle is either your anchor or your engine, so guard it like a fortune, because it is. Let's keep going. Educate yourself beyond school. Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. Let that sink in. Now, I'm not here to knock school. School gives you the basics, reading, writing, arithmetic. But if you stop learning when you get your diploma, you've already signed up for a life of limitation. The real world doesn't reward degrees, it rewards value. And value comes from what you know, what you apply, and who you become along the way. Most people finish school and stop studying. They go from reading books to scrolling screens, from writing ideas to watching entertainment, from curiosity to comfort. But millionaires, they keep learning long after the classroom is gone. They understand something most people don't. Success isn't a one-time lesson, it's a lifelong curriculum. Every year, every season, every challenge, they are still learning. They read books, listen to audio, study winners, ask questions, take notes, and reflect. Because every new level requires a new mindset, and that mindset must be built through learning. So how do you start educating yourself beyond school? First, commit to lifelong learning. Read at least one good book every month. Not fiction, unless it teaches you something. Read about mindset, read about money, read about leadership, read about people, because people are your greatest opportunity and your greatest challenge. Second, learn from results, not just theories. The world is full of opinions, but don't just listen to people with big voices. Listen to people with big outcomes. Who has built something real? Who has overcome something hard? Who has the fruit you want? That's who you learn from. Third, apply what you learn. Don't just collect knowledge, use it. It's not what you know that changes your life. It's what you do with what you know. Learn a principle, test it, practice it, adjust, repeat. Let it become part of your behavior, not just part of your bookshelf. Fourth, create a learning routine. Set aside time every day, even if it's just 15 minutes. 15 minutes of focused learning over 1 year can give you the edge most people never reach in a lifetime. And finally, teach what you learn. Because the best way to master something is to share it with someone else. Teaching forces you to clarify, organize, and truly understand. So teach your kids, teach your team, teach yourself by repeating what matters. The world is changing fast: technology, markets, communication, and if you're not growing, you're falling behind. But if you stay curious, stay humble, and stay consistent, there's no limit to how far you can go. Don't just go to school, live like a student, because the best investment you'll ever make is the one you make in your mind. Let's move forward. Adopt the entrepreneurial mindset. You don't have to own a business to think like an entrepreneur, but you do have to think like one if you want to own your future. The entrepreneurial mindset isn't about a title. It's not about a fancy office or your name on the door. It's a way of seeing the world, a way of thinking, a way of solving problems instead of becoming one. Employees wait for direction, but entrepreneurs look for opportunities. Employees focus on tasks while entrepreneurs focus on outcomes. Here's what most people miss. Even if you work a 9-to-5 job, you can still bring an entrepreneurial spirit to everything you do. You can think like an owner, lead with initiative, and take responsibility like the business depends on you. Because in many ways, it does. The most valuable people in any organization are the ones who think beyond the paycheck. They ask, how can I add more value? How can I improve the system? How can I solve this problem faster, smarter, better? That's the mindset that gets promoted. That's the mindset that builds wealth. That's the mindset that creates freedom. So how do you adopt this way of thinking? First, stop waiting to be told what to do. Entrepreneurs don't wait for permission. They see a gap and fill it. They see a need and meet it. They take initiative before anyone asks. Ask yourself daily, where can I lead today? Where can I make something better? Where can I step up and take ownership? Second, stop thinking in hours. Start thinking in value. You don't get rich by working more hours. You get rich by increasing your contribution, by doing what matters, by producing results. So don't just focus on staying busy. Focus on staying valuable, because in the marketplace, value always gets rewarded. Third, embrace risk, but make it calculated. Entrepreneurs don't fear failure. They use it. They understand that setbacks are part of the process, that you learn more by doing than by dreaming. Don't wait for everything to be perfect. Make a decision, test, learn, adjust. That's how momentum is created. Fourth, solve problems. That's what entrepreneurs do best. They don't complain. They don't point fingers. They ask, what's the solution? What's the next move? The world pays high for people who can solve problems with confidence and creativity. And finally, think in terms of building, not just earning. Entrepreneurs build systems. They build teams. They build assets. They're not just working in life. They're working on life. So here's the challenge. Stop thinking like a worker. Start thinking like a builder. Builders leave a legacy, and builders never go broke. Even when they fail, they learn, rebuild, and rise again. Remember, you don't need a business to think like an entrepreneur. You just need a standard, a commitment to excellence, a refusal to wait around for someone else to create your future. Think like an owner, act like a leader, and live like your results depend on you. Because they do. Let's continue. Learn to handle money like the wealthy. You don't get wealthy by earning more. You get wealthy by handling well what you already have. Let me repeat that. It's not about the income. It's about the intention. Because if you mismanage a little, you'll mismanage a lot. Money doesn't change your habits, it reveals them. Most people think their problem is income, but in truth, it's discipline. They don't have a money problem, they have a management problem. Millionaires understand something simple. Money is a tool, a servant, a resource, a multiplier, but if you don't learn to control it, it will always control you. So let's talk about how the wealthy handle money, not just how they make it, but how they respect it, track it, and grow it. First, they have a plan. Every dollar has a direction. They don't spend emotionally. They don't live impulsively. They decide ahead of time what to save, what to invest, what to give, and what to spend. If your money isn't managed with purpose, it will vanish under pressure. Second, they track everything. The wealthy know their numbers. They know where their money goes. They review, they reflect, they adjust. Most people avoid looking at their bank statement like it's bad news, but the wealthy treat it like a scoreboard, not to shame themselves, but to stay sharp. Because what you don't measure, you can't multiply. Third, they invest not just in stocks or real estate, but in themselves. Books, skills, mentors, knowledge, health. They see every dollar spent on growth as a seed. They understand this truth. Money flows to prepared minds and disciplined hands, so they stay ready. Fourth, they don't chase appearances. They're not trying to impress, they're trying to build. The car, the clothes, the status, those come later. First, they master the fundamentals. They live like no one else now, so they can live like no one else later. Fifth, they delay gratification if it doesn't serve the goal. They say no, not because they can't afford it, but because they know the long-term return is more valuable than the short-term pleasure. Let me give you a rule of thumb. If you can't manage $100, 0 cents with wisdom, you're not ready for $100, 0 cents. The number doesn't make you smarter, it just makes your decisions louder. So what can you do starting now? Build a basic budget. Know where your money's going. Start saving, even if it's small. Start investing and learning, even if it's slow. Treat every dollar like a decision, because that's what it is. Money is a mirror. It reflects your habits, your mindset, your priorities. The wealthy don't worship money, but they do respect it. They use it, they grow it, they direct it with wisdom. You must do the same. Don't just earn more, learn more, so when more comes, you'll know exactly what to do with it. That's how the wealthy handle money. Let's keep going. Turn setbacks into fuel. Everyone wants success, but few are ready for the setbacks that come with it. Let me tell you the truth. Setbacks are not the enemy. They are the tuition you pay for real growth. Nobody builds strong character in comfort. Nobody develops discipline when everything is easy. It's in the challenge, the crisis, the curveball that your mindset is tested, refined, and rebuilt. Most people treat setbacks like stop signs. They get discouraged, they start doubting, and they quit before the lesson is learned. But not millionaires, not winners. They understand that every setback carries a seed of wisdom, a seed of clarity, a seed of strength. And if they dig deep enough, they'll find a new level of resilience buried inside the pain. Let me give you a principle. The goal is not to avoid hard things. The goal is to become the kind of person who grows through them. So how do you turn setbacks into fuel? First, change your perspective. Stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? Every failure has something to offer, but only if you're willing to stay in the discomfort long enough to extract the wisdom. Second, detach your identity from the outcome. Just because something failed doesn't mean you are a failure. The project may have flopped, the deal may have fallen through, the plan may have changed, but you can still grow, improve, and come back stronger. Never confuse a temporary defeat with a permanent identity. Third, write it down after every setback. Reflect. What happened? What did I miss? What did I learn? How will I respond better next time? Don't just feel the pain, study it, because pain that's never reviewed becomes pain that's repeated. Fourth, take the next step immediately. Don't wait until you feel better. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Take a step, any step. Momentum doesn't come from motivation, it comes from movement. Even a small action taken in the middle of a setback can reignite your confidence and finally use your story to serve others. Your setback is someone else's survival guide. Your failure, when processed and shared with wisdom, can become a roadmap for others. Because when you rise again, you don't just rise for yourself, you become a light, a mentor, an example. That's what true leaders do. They don't hide their scars, they use them. Let me leave you with this. Setbacks are not signals to stop. They're invitations to rise, to sharpen your focus, to double your effort, to test your faith. So don't waste your struggle. Don't retreat into fear. Refuse to give up. Use the setback. Turn it into strategy. Turn it into strength. Turn it into, let's keep going. Be the person success is looking for. Success is not something you chase. It's something you attract by the person you become. Most people think success is out there somewhere with the right contacts, the right timing, or the lucky break, but that's not how it works. Success is not looking for potential. It's looking for preparation. It's looking for discipline. It's looking for maturity, character, resilience, responsibility. It's looking for someone ready to handle the weight of the rewards. The truth is, if you're not ready to become that person, even if success shows up, you won't be able to keep it. Let me give you something to think about. Your current habits are training you for the level of life you're asking for. So ask yourself, am I becoming the kind of person who can sustain what I say I want? Millionaires don't just work harder, they work on themselves. They develop habits that outlast motivation. They build routines that function without applause. They master their emotions so pressure doesn't break them. They grow their character so influence doesn't corrupt them. So how do you become the person success is looking for? First, master the small disciplines. Wake up early, keep your word, finish what you start, and show up when no one is watching. Because if you can't manage the little things, you won't be trusted with the big ones. Second, take full responsibility. No blaming, no complaining, no pointing fingers. Own your choices, own your results, own your growth. The moment you take responsibility, you take power. Third, elevate your standards. If you tolerate laziness in yourself, you'll never outrun mediocrity. Raise the bar, demand more from yourself, hold yourself to a higher level than anyone else would. That's how leaders are built. Fourth, surround yourself with excellence. You can't grow to greatness in an average environment. Be around people who stretch your thinking, push your limits, and remind you of your potential. Finally, decide who you're going to be before the opportunity shows up. Don't wait to get the job before you become professional. Don't wait to get rich before you become disciplined. Don't wait to lead before you act like a leader. Be the person in advance, and the results will catch up. Because success is not looking for someone who wants it. It's looking for someone who's ready for it. So become that person every day, in private, with no audience, with no applause, with no guarantee except the one you make to yourself. You are not waiting on success. Success is waiting on you. Let's finish strong. Make the decision daily. Success is not a one-time choice. It's a daily decision. Not once a year when you make resolutions, not once in a while when you feel motivated, but every single day. Every day you decide what kind of mindset you'll carry, what kind of standards you'll keep, what kind of person you're becoming. And those decisions, they stack, they build momentum, they shape your habits, and before long, they shape your life. Now, here's the truth. You won't always feel like it. There will be days when you're tired, days when it's hard, days when it feels like nothing's working. But that's the test, and that's where the separation happens. Because average waits for the mood, but the successful make the move. They don't let feelings lead. They let principles lead. They don't ask, do I feel like it? They ask, what's required of me today to stay aligned with the future I said I wanted? That's the difference. The decision to stay consistent, especially when it's inconvenient. You've heard the principles, you've walked through the mindset, you've studied the habits. Now it's time to choose. Not someday, not next month, but today. Train your mind like a millionaire daily. Decide to think higher, decide to speak stronger, decide to grow further, decide to act with purpose. And if you fall off track, get back up, because the goal is not perfection, it's progress. And progress only comes from decisions backed by discipline. So make the decision and then make it again tomorrow and the next day and the next. That's how you win. Not with luck, not with shortcuts, but with daily decisions made by someone who refuses to live beneath their potential. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be committed. Make the decision daily and don't stop until you've become the person your future requires. That's how you train your mind like a millionaire. And that's how you build a life that's worthy of the effort. You've heard the strategies, the mindset shifts, and the daily disciplines that can transform your life. But here's the truth. This isn't just about learning. It's about becoming. The mindset of a millionaire isn't something you find. It's something you build piece by piece, decision by decision. If you're serious about creating a life of abundance, success, and lasting impact, the question you need to ask yourself is, are you ready to commit to this change? The tools and knowledge are in your hands right now, but only through consistent action will you truly unlock your potential. Start training your mind today, not for the results of tomorrow, but for the life you want to live in the future. Remember, success isn't waiting for you. It's waiting on you to show up, to make the decision, and to take the next step. So, what will you decide